Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Premier League predictions. The international break is over and we can get stuck right back into the Premier League where there is so much to play for. As ever guys, do make sure to drop a like. We'll go for 449 likes on this one, and do make sure to subscribe. What have they got to do, Sophie?
You've got to like and subscribe.
Absolutely. And how are you doing?
Very well now that the international break is over.
Yeah, honestly. Let's get straight back into it, guys. Starting with an absolute corker. Manchester City versus Liverpool. This could be a really good game. I know they're not really next to each other in the Premier League table, but honestly, these two can beat each other quite easily.
Yeah.
The weird thing is with Liverpool, I could see them winning this, but I don't think I'm going to back them to win this just because you can't trust them. You know what I mean? After that 7-0 win against Manchester United, they went away to Bournemouth and lost. So, I don't know. Man City obviously trying to chase down Arsenal. Liverpool trying to chase down the top four. I think it could be entertaining, but with Man City being at home and higher in the table and a bit more consistent, I'm going to go for a City 3-1 win.
Yeah, I'm going to say Man City win this. I'm going to say 2-0. I get what you're saying with Liverpool coming out with a bit of an upset, because that was a crazy result against United a couple of weeks ago, but I don't see them doing that against Man City, to be honest. So for me, Man City win 2-0. 2-0,
yeah, fair enough. On we go to a massive game between Arsenal and Leeds United. Obviously, Arsenal are trying to stay on top of the tree, and they've been so good this season. It's not as straightforward as you'd think. Leeds United have improved under Grazia, and I don't think anyone can be taken lightly in the Premier League. Even if you take on Southampton and Bournemouth, they can sometimes pull out a result. There's absolutely massive games coming for Arsenal, and none of them, as I say, can be taken for granted. I feel like Leeds United could score, and they might even be able to try and cause Arsenal a problem or two. It wouldn't surprise me if they take the lead, but you just think Arsenal have been so good this season. The quality and just the way they're playing, the togetherness, they're going to win this one. I'm going to go for a close game, though. I'm going to go Arsenal 2, Leeds 1.
No, I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think at times Leeds are going to show their quality, because I do think that they can play good football. However, Arsenal are absolutely flying. They've got some individual players that are in cracking form. Odegaard, Saka, even on an international break, they're still playing well. So for me, they're going to win this 3-1.
3-1, wow. Okay, next up we go down to the South Coast. It's AFC Bournemouth versus Fulham. Who'd have thought these two would be so far apart in the Premier League when they both came up automatically last season? Bournemouth are down in the mix, as you'd maybe have expected, and I'm not saying they've been terrible, because, you know, one win and they'll be out of the bottom three. It's that close down there. But I suppose it's testament to how brilliant Fulham have been this season. Can they continue this great season and really blast themselves to maybe a top 8 finish this season? Because you look at it, they've stayed up now. You know, there's no way they're going down. Can they continue to be motivated to finish as high as possible? And could there be a place in Europe for Fulham? I think they'll win this game. I know Bournemouth can pop up with a result, but I think Fulham are a better team this season, so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say Bournemouth 1, Fulham 2.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 Fulham. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a comfortable game again. Fulham have completely surprised me this season, and that's not taking anything away from Bournemouth, because at times they have put in a good performance, got a couple of good results. That one against Liverpool we spoke about a couple of minutes ago. That was a great result and big 3 points for them. However, I think there's just too big of a difference between the two teams at the moment in form. So for me, Fulham win 2-0.
Next up we have got an absolutely juicy game here in Brighton versus Brentford. I really can't separate these two. They're the new kids on the block that have joined this top 8, haven't they? And it's great to see. I find these two teams are refreshing. It changes things up. You know, you've not just got the so-called big 6 in there anymore. You've got Newcastle, Brighton and Brentford and Fulham all battling to get in there. If you look at these sides in isolation, Brighton have been brilliant this season. When Graham Potter went, there was some questions about how they'd carry on and if they'd still be great. I think he laid down some great foundations, and Deserby's been brilliant as well. Brentford, though, Brentford is brilliant as well. I've said Ivan Toney he's brilliant. He could get a move to a top 4 club, but realistically Brentford are starting to become a top 6 club, so he might stay. You never know. Thomas Frank is doing fantastic, and I don't want to back either team to lose because I've got so much respect for both of them. So I'm going to be a coward and I'm going to sit on the fence and I'm going to say an entertaining 2-2 draw.
Oh, okay. No, I think I'm going to have to back the home team here. On form, maybe Brighton just slightly tip it for me. They both play nice football. I like both teams, so I get why you're kind of saying a draw and you don't want to separate the two. However, I am going to back Brighton, and I think it's going to be a tight game, so 2-1.
2-1. Okay, this is the first of 3 relegation 6-pointers we've got. We've got Crystal Palace versus Leicester. This is a really fascinating one. Roy Hodgson's return. What do you make of that?
I just think it's a bit daft, to be honest.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like him, but just let the man retire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can have an immediate impact. I suppose it's possibly a short-term appointment, you know. Leicester City, their form's not great either. They've picked up 1 point in 5, but Palace haven't won in months, so it wouldn't surprise me if this finished 0-0, but there's so much on the line. You feel like there's got to be a winner here, and they both need to win this. I don't know if a draw does a lot for either. I know Palace are higher in the table, but they're also bunched up on points. I'll go for a Palace win. Roy Hodgson, new manager bounce. I'll say 2-1.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a new manager bounce. I mean, it might prove me wrong, old Roy, but I'm going to back Leicester to win this week. I do think it is going to be a tight game for me, but just kind of going off of form. I mean, 2 teams not in very good form at the moment, but Leicester just going to tip it for me, so 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that game could go either way. Give us your predictions for that one. Next up, a massive game at the City Ground. It's Nottingham Forest versus Wolves. They both lost going into the international break. Wolves lost at home to Leeds United 4-2, and they picked up a couple red cards on their way, which could be interesting coming into this one. Nottingham Forest, they lost, and it's not like them to lose at home, but they lost in the last minute to an Isak penalty for Newcastle, and they conceded in first half and second half stoppage time, which they obviously need to nip in the bud. They really need to recapture that home form and go on another good home run. There's so much at stake here. Once again, I could see this being a draw. Do I go for either team? I feel like I've backed Forest a lot, and sometimes they've let me down, but I don't know if I'm going to entirely back Wolves here. Forest really need to get something from this one. Honestly, Nottingham Forest have got a massive month coming, and their next 2 games are Wolves and Leeds. They need to pick up something. I'm going to be boring and sit on the fence. 1-1.
Yeah, I'm going the exact same. Anytime I've backed Forest, they've let me down, so you never know. They'll probably win this now. I think both teams need the points, and I think that's why a draw is going to play out, so I agree, 1-1.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, give us your thoughts down below, Forest and Wolves fans. Next up, we go on to Chelsea versus Aston Villa, the battle for 10th. Chelsea are 10th at the moment, Villa are 11th, but I think the way these two are going, Villa might just sneak ahead of them and claim that top half finish at the end. Chelsea are a weird one. I thought there was going to be a little bit of a... There was a bit of an improvement under Graham Potter. It's nothing amazing. It's just a couple wins together here and there, and I feel like it's up to Chelsea now which direction they go in terms of, you know, they've got quite a lot of time to plan. I know they've still got the Champions League to play for, but in terms of the Premier League, I don't see anything being too much to play for now, and it's all eyes on next season. Are they going to stick with Graham Potter for that? One manager that's certainly very comfortable at the moment is Unai Emery. I think he's doing a fantastic job at Aston Villa, and I'm actually going to go for a Villa win, 2-1.
No, I'm going to go for a Chelsea win, but I do see it being quite a tight game. I think at the moment they're evenly matched in a way, which is daft when you realise how much Chelsea have spent. But I do think they're going to edge it, 1-0.
1-0. Okay, next up, this is massive. The London Stadium, West Ham United versus Southampton. It's 2 sides in that bottom 3, 18th at home to 20th place. West Ham have got a couple games in hand to catch up on. Their form's not been great. They're churning out around a point per game, which might just get them enough, but they're right in the mix. I mean, they're currently in the bottom 3. Southampton are bottom, but they've been improving. They picked up a 3-3 against Spurs. They got a 0-0 at Man United. They won away at Chelsea 1-0, and I feel like Southampton have been improving, but West Ham can't afford to lose at home to Southampton. I'm going to go 1-1.
Oh, no, I feel like I'm going to have to back the Hammers here. Yeah, Southampton desperately need 3 points. Again, so does West Ham. I just feel like West Ham on the pitch have a little bit more quality, to be honest, and I see them getting the 3 points. So I'll say 2-1. 2-1.
Okay. All right, we'll move on. It's Newcastle United versus Manchester United next. Big game this one. Can Newcastle get some revenge after the Carabao Cup final defeat to Manchester United? I do feel like Newcastle have improved a little bit since then because their form was a bit questionable at the time. Manchester United's form dipped a little bit, but you just wonder if the international break might reset everything, because does form really continue after a 2-week break? I don't know. It'll really open things up if Newcastle beat Manchester United. I don't know if I'm going to go for that, but I don't know if I can see Man United winning. I'm going to be boring again and go for a 1-1 draw.
Oh no, I feel like I'm going to have to back Man United in this one. I see Newcastle making it quite a difficult game. There was a time where they were really struggling to score, but then they seem to have found that. I do think Isaac's a good player, not internationally though, which is interesting. He doesn't play that well for Sweden.
Yeah, but he's in the shadow of Gyökeres, isn't he?
Yeah, well, exactly. But I don't see them scoring against Man United. I think they're going to be able to kind of hold them off. Low scoring for me, but Man United win 1-0.
Okay, the final game is an interesting one. It's Everton versus Tottenham Hotspur. I don't know, Tottenham Hotspur are flaky and they've changed the manager.
Yeah, no Conte.
I don't know if that'll improve things straight away or if they're going to be a bit negative heading towards an Everton team that are pretty hard to beat at the moment. They've just picked up a draw at Chelsea. They beat Brentford at home before that, and I think I'm going to go for an Everton win here, 1-0.
Oh, no, I think there might be a new manager bounce with Tottenham, to be honest. I think things started to become a little bit negative with Conte, and I don't think they were playing for him, so they've almost got a point to prove now. I do agree that Everton can be quite a tough team to break down. However, I don't really rate them that much, so Spurs win for me, 2-0.
Oh, Spurs 2-0. There you go. We're disagreeing on that one. Do make sure to get your Premier League predictions down below. Do make sure to, of course, make sure you've hit the like button and do make sure to subscribe. As I say, we're trying to hit 30,000 subscribers by the end of May. Do help us out by liking and subscribing. We'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.